This video is brought to you by Ageless Geeks.
Cowabunga, dudes and dudettes. This is Anthony, aka Batbomb82, and today I'll be doing a review of the Mezco 112 Collective Wonder Woman. Now, taking a look at the front, we can see that the figure is showcased in your standard Mezco box, with a teal motif and the Wonder Woman logo at the center. Turning the box around, we can see multiple images and panels showcasing the figure in multiple posing positions with her different interchangeable parts and accessories. So with the box out of the way, let's crack this figure open and see what we have inside. And here's Wonder Woman out of the box. And man, I will say this, I'm not really in love with this figure. Now normally I am a giant advocate of everything that Mezco does, but this figure does have quite a few things that are a bit of a letdown. Now that's not to say this is a bad figure, it's just not a great piece that I'm normally used to from Mezco Toys. She is beautifully sculpted and painted, and I do love her accessories, but you'll see what I mean when I say she does have some problems. But before we take a closer look at the figure, let's take a look at the accessories. So Wonder Woman does come with a good amount of accessories. Starting off, she comes with two interchangeable head sculpts, her shield, a bendable wired lasso, a holstered lasso, 3 pairs of interchangeable hands, and her sword. And lastly, she also comes with a circular base stand with the Wonder Woman logo printed atop. She also comes with a clear, articulated arm that articulates at 4 points with a clip. So with the accessories out of the way, let's take a closer look at the Mezco 112 Collective Wonder Woman. Alright guys, now let's take a closer look at Wonder Woman. Now this is the figure I have been anticipating for a long time for multiple reasons. First of all, I love Wonder Woman. In my opinion, and I think in most people's opinions, she's the greatest female superhero ever. I loved the Wonder Woman film and whatnot, and I love Gal Gadot's portrayal of her in all the different movies and whatnot. And this is barely the second figure that we're getting from the Mezco 112 line. Now, I am disappointed in quite a bit of few things here, but that's not to say this is necessarily a bad figure, so let's take a look. So the head sculpt I think is okay. I've had people complain that it's just a terrible head sculpt. It looks ugly, it's horrible, looks nothing like her. I will say this particular head sculpt right here is not great. The hair kind of comes over and whatnot. The sculpt and all that looks pretty decent, but it doesn't feel right to me. So I popped this one off and I put on her other head this one right here, and I think this one looks a lot better for some reason. And I'm not sure why this one came out so much better. I noticed when taking pictures and whatnot, some angles just don't look right, some she looks really good, but I like this head a lot better with the hair swept back and whatnot. The sculpting on that looks great, all the different dry brushing, the paint and whatnot, the tiara and things like that, and eyes looks really good. The sculpting along her breastplate, the metallic reds and golds all look really nice. The detail in like the boots and in all that gold paint and red and on the straps, all that looks very nice. I do have some smudging right here on her little tunic piece or skirt piece. That's not a big deal. I'm not too bothered by that. The bracers look really good. I love that. So I think the sculpt and the paint looks really good. I think what I'm used to is with Mezco figures tend to having more soft goods, and I was kind of hoping that this whole breast area was going to be more like a leather type material, but instead it's more of a solid plastic, which I don't really like, and you'll see why later. Her accessories are nice. She does come with her lasso right here, which is really nice. It constantly pops off because it does not really stay on there whatsoever. So I was posing her around and whatnot. I was constantly knocking this thing off, and it kind of annoyed me, and I didn't like it. We also get her sword right here. Just popped it off, and that looks fantastic. I love the detail that they did with that. Just looks really good. You can pop that onto one of her gripping hands right here, and her hands are gummy, just like most Mezco figures. so they do hold on to their weapons very nice, and that's very cool. She also gets this really rad shield. The shield is just fantastically done. Lots of detail in there. The sculpt work, the paint looks really good to make it look like it's like rusted bronze or metal and whatnot. Even in the interior, you got the leather straps. Looks really, really cool. How you do this, you take this hand off like so. And the bracers are a separate piece, so you can take those off if you really wanted to. And this just slides over that like so. Now I notice I am having a little trouble with this particular hand staying on the peg, and it's popped off of me multiple times, but you can do it and it'll stay, the shield will stay there pretty good, so I think that works out pretty well for the most part. And again, I just love the actual sculpt of that shield. I think it's very, very well done. So we do get the fisted hands, we do get the gripping hands, then we do get these more like open palm hands for like posing around and whatnot, and then we get this thing right here. I'm assuming this is supposed to be her lasso. I don't really like the look of this all that much. It's just kind of like a yellow wire, like a faded yellow wire with these like little nubs at the end. It just doesn't really feel right to me, and it doesn't really scream lasso and whatnot. But I mean, it is bendy wire, so you can pose it around. You'll see a couple pictures at the end that I took with this. It's just not ideal, and it doesn't really feel like her golden lasso at all, so it's kind of cheap in my opinion. I wish they had done a better job with that, so that's whatever. We also get the stand that I'm always very happy to get. I love this one here with the Wonder Woman logo in the gold with the black base. That looks fantastic. Love these stands so much. Alright, so let's take a look at the articulation, because this tends to be where this figure does not shine, because her articulation is limiting in quite a bit of few places. So let's take a look. So I have this head on right here. It does roll around just like so. Does turn left and right. It works a lot better than this head because of the hair coming over the shoulders. So pop it side to side. Arms can go full 360. Up about that far. No butterfly joint. I really wish there was a butterfly joint. We get a single bended elbow that doesn't even do 90 degrees. That's ridiculous. If they couldn't give us double jointed elbows, they should at least give us a single jointed elbow that does a little better than 90, you know what I mean? And you'll kind of see why. Rotation at the wrist as well as a hinge at the wrist. Now what I mean by those, you can't even get her signature posing, you know, with the bracers crossed like that. That's one of her most iconic poses, and she can't do it. So I know for a lot of people that's upsetting, and it's not too big a deal to me. But I can see why that would upset a lot of people. I personally wouldn't pose her on the shelf like that. Posed, I want her with her weapons and whatnot. But again, I can see why, especially for people who take pictures and whatnot, they would want to do that, and you can't do it. So that's stupid. Now, this whole thing is solid, and why I say I wish it was like a leather material, she has no articulation whatsoever in this whole midsection upper torso. Now, if you look kind of in here, take the head off, you can kind of see there is a cut in there with like a breast cut that's just below kind of like the Harley Quinn figure was, but it does nothing. You can't move it, you can't swivel it around, pivot, nothing, because I believe this breast area, this whole chest plate just hinders articulation completely. You can't do crap with it. So you just, I hate that. I've always said when a lot of my videos, especially with my female figures, give them some type of waist swivel in it, because they're always trying to keep the integrity of like the sculpt of one of these female figures, and they tend to lack articulation, and that pisses me off. And especially with Mezco, man, I know Mezco's not a really heavy articulated line, but not giving her anything in the torso is ridiculous. The leather skirt is really nice. I think it looks pretty good for the most part. She has 0 hips, which I'm noticing, because she has no shape down there. And I know Gal Gadot isn't a curvy woman, but she's not like super slim like that. I think she just has no curvature whatsoever. So it's a little weird in my opinion too. Hips kick forward that much, back not so much. She does do the splits, and there's very heavy gapping right here in the thighs. In the inner thigh, it looks ridiculous. Now, if you bring in my SH Figure Arts one, I love this figure a lot. You can even see in that, this is an awkward camera angle, so I apologize. But you can see that even the SH Figure Arts gets like the same amount of kick, but no gapping, barely little. And this is just very off-putting and weird. And again, for people who take pictures and whatnot, and she wants to do like a high kick and whatnot, those gaps are gonna look ugly, and I just don't like it. We do get upper thigh swivel, single bend at the knee, rotation at the knee. We do get ankle joints, like the toe up and down, rotate, and a decent ankle rocker. So again, overall, I think she's a good figure. She's by no means bad, like people are trying to say, like she's just terrible. I will say this, this probably is my least favorite Mezco figure that I've owned, and I virtually have them all. So I think my opinion matters a little bit in saying that, like, again, she's not a terrible figure by any means, but she's not up to par with what I'm personally used to when it comes to Mezco. She's, again, good design, good looks and whatnot. I think this head sculpt's really nice, far superior to this one for some reason. The articulation just kind of sucks in a lot of ways, but it has decent articulation in the legs and whatnot and things like that. So I still think she'll fit in great with the rest of your, like, Justice League and BVS Trinity and things like that. So if you can find her and you can look past those flaws that I've mentioned, then I think she is definitely a must get. So for a quick size comparison, here she is standing next to a Marvel Legends Deadpool figure, as well as a DCUC Batman figure. And for your Wonder Woman comparison, here he is standing next to the SH Figuarts Wonder Woman. And for your Mezco comparison, here she is standing next to the Mezco 112 Collective Superman and Batman figures. And just for fun, here she is standing next to little Lego Bat Bomb. So there it is, guys, my review of the Mezco 112 Collective Wonder Woman. Now overall, I do think this is a good figure that just happens to have some flaws. Now by no means is she a great figure from what I'm used to from Mezco Toys. I absolutely love this line, and to be honest, this is one of the worst figures. Now it still is a decent figure in my opinion, and if you could look past things like the articulation and the slightly off face sculpts, then I think you'll absolutely love this toy. She's a great piece to pose with your Batman and Superman figures, and I think she will look pretty cool in your collections. So please comment, like, and subscribe. Stay nerdy, my friends. Peace.